G'day guys, welcome back to Harry's Garage. On today's video we will be doing some springs in the AU. Let me just have a look. So the story is, got some springs for the AU, got some King's lowered springs. They'll be going on to these shocks and we'll be using the spring compressors to change the springs over. I do actually have some lowered springs in there at the moment, but they are really lowered springs. So hopefully these will give us a bit better of a ride, plus the shocks that are in it now are blown completely, so the front end is just bouncing up and down all over the place. These shocks are actually not blown, they're actually in reasonable condition, so we'll be chucking these King springs on them today, and I'll show you guys how to do it. We just got a pretty epic deal. We picked up a new engine, a spare engine for the AU. Not that there's anything wrong with the one that's in there, it's just come up for $50 for a spare engine. It has a blown head gasket, and that's all I know. It has issues with it. Could have something else, but we will be diving into that probably in the next episode. We'll be pulling this apart. It'd be kind of cool to have a look what's in there, see what if it's a go or not. If this engine is good, might be going to be building it for some boost, which would be really fun. So yeah, it's not out of an AU. It's actually out of. Don't actually know what it's out of, to be honest. But I think they're similar enough that they will fit in there. For $50 it was worth it. So yeah, and I got some four tyres for some fun skids. Anyways, let's get to it. We'll chuck these springs on today, and yeah, sit back and relax. We'll chuck these springs on. These King springs are supposed to give us a 70mm drop. So like this, and the springs that are on there now. I don't know, like 140mm drop. So hopefully these will be more what we're looking for. See, when I put when the other ones went in, these springs were just bouncing around in here, but these ones look like they're actually going to fit. So hopefully they just give us that nice little drop. So there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can be bodgy, or you can try and be a little less bodgy like we are today, like that. So you can press the spring, compress the string in between, and then it makes it easy to get the top hat off, so it doesn't kill anyone when it comes off. So it's a bit easier for us. So now, just want to take a bolt to the top hat, like that. Preferably if you've got a rattle gun, makes it easier. That's it. See? No. Yeah. That's the height difference. So that's where we get that drop of around 70mm. Well, it won't be quite exact like that because static sag and all that sort of stuff as well. So on like that. Like so. Alright, so that's it. So we're tight at the top. We have our lowered shock. So on the other ones that are already in there, the spring just like sits here so that it just bounces around in there, whereas this one's good to go. So that's one. Now let's repeat the process. There we go. We have our 70mm lowered King springs on our shocks ready to go in. Let's go and chuck them in. Let's rip into it. Shouldn't take too long, I did it the other day. This is what I mean when I was talking about the safety first, ladies and gentlemen. Pull him out, and there's in pretty poor condition yeah, And there we go. Tighten everything back up, throw the wheel back on. And hopefully she sits just right. And let's go and do the other side. Now we will change it like was the absolute last bolt that gave me grief. But there we are. Much the same for the other side, just at the top you've got the coolant reservoir that you just need to unbolt 2 bolts and it pulls out of the way really easy. Alright, let's put this back together and see how low she sits. Hopefully it sits at least flush with the guards, I'd be super happy. Ready? Keep going, keep going, keep going. It will roll out as well, so we'll get a bit more out of it. But I've got the blocks for the back to go in, so level it out basically, because at the back's right up and the front's right down. But we'll chuck some adapters, in there, get the wheel track out a bit, and we'll do the lock mod as well. We'll be doing that in one of the future episodes, but probably when we put the blocks in, we'll do the lock mod. So we'll get a bit of extra lock, and we're probably putting a power steering cooler in as well. So that's that for the time being. So we have our ballast in the back at the moment. It looks a bit lower at the back because it's got an engine in the back. But yeah, test driving the with the new suspension feels just about the same as it did before. Actually, it could